outlets like the New York Times and Essence magazine. She is also the former board president for Butch Voices, which held its second major conference last August in Oakland, California. Give it up. Krys is the founder of an online community and blog called the+Definition, WEARE.thedefinition.org, focused on supporting and amplifying the visibility, masculine+of+Center entrepreneurs, inclusive of both women and trans men and their allies. Give it up, please. Krys Blacktivist Freeman.
What up, Dyke+March? It's so beautiful to see y'all. Oh man. So, all right. So I was trying to live stream this. It's not gonna happen, but I'm gonna try and get a video of some sort. Before I do anything, I want to start by thanking Ayanna Smythe and the entire Dyke+March committee. Your tireless work and commitment to our communities helped make this day possible. Can we show some love for the folks? It's the 20th anniversary of Dyke+March. And I want to thank all of you for being here, and hopefully the people who get to see us online later, for being here to show the beauty that is the Bay Area. Thanks for being supportive and vocal and present and out and proud and visible. Thanks for representing everything that we all love and see here in the Bay Area. I'd like to start by officially greeting you. Good day, dykes! And good day, lesbians and trans dykes. Hello to the M to Fs and the F to Ms. Trans feminine, trans masculine, gender queer, gender fluid dykes. Butchers, what's up? Shout out to Butch Voices! How you been, bulldaggers? Where are my gentlewomen at? Where the genderqueers? The tomboys, the tweenies, the twin and two-spirited folks? What's good to my AGs, doms and studs, boys, masculine+of+Center women? Where my brown boys at? Good evening to all of my femmes, fat femmes, high femmes, aggressive femmes. Whatever feels good on you, even and especially for those of you whose names I do not yet know, or to those of you who prefer none of it and prefer that I get on with what I gotta say. It's wonderful to see. Good day and what is to be a great summer and a great year for us. Believe it or not. I say believe it or not because I recently discovered that if you search gay in Google News, the most consistent thing you'll find is gay marriage. As if that were the only issue affecting us. And yes, it's been a big year and a great year for a number of reasons for gay marriage. Prop 8 was overturned in California back in February. Yeah! Same-sex marriage was legalized in Washington and Maryland. The Defense of Marriage Act was ruled unconstitutional. And then Barack Obama made history by being the first sitting president to endorse marriage equality. That was big. But you'll have to excuse the skeptic and the radical in me that feels like I need to remind all of us it's an election year. And that we deserve much, much more. To be honest, I was grateful that the president stepped out on faith, but I myself felt the need to dig deeper. So I'm reading a couple of things on Facebook and Twitter and skipping a couple of blogs. Tech geek. And I go to this piece on Huffington Post and essentially saying that gay marriage is not enough. It isn't. But then it got hella real in the comments. This white guy was catching heat for his response to it. He said, at the end of the day, all I want is to emulate the anachronistic norm of patriarchal, economically productive homes. Not to dismantle the system, but to instead join it. And the onslaught of folks grilling him, my friend Carrie Coley, a Rutgers University PhD candidate, also a bit of a tech geek, chimes in with a pinch of nuance and a great deal of compassion. Almost halfway in defense, she adds, I think the desire for belonging in a society in which you live, participating in its dreams and narratives, rather than necessarily having to destroy the above to exist, is something to be paid attention. Not everyone is a warrior. Not everyone wants to fight the rest of their lives in order to say they've enjoyed it. There is something very real about saying I deserve to have what you show as being possible merely because I exist. In other words, there's a place in the movement of civil rights for varied interests and commitments. I'm not sharing these points to say yes or no to gay marriage or marriage of any kind. I'm not here to make any decisions for you. I'm here to encourage you, to encourage us, to stay compassionate, to explore the complexities, to think before we act, to think before we just accept any and everything. Same-sex marriage is not a cut and dry issue for many of us. For instance, the black queers in the audience, Maddie Eudora Richardson reminds us that as people, our continued search for American inclusion is a tragic one. Until we as black queer people speak our own truths, what passes for gay rights will never serve us. For those of us in the audience who are not black and queer, there's a message in that for you too. I'll restate it. Until we as a people speak our own truths, what passes as gay rights will do very little for us. Because word, it's been a great year for gay marriage. Yes, strategically, our president's endorsement of same-sex unions is a nod to the LGBT community. Jay-Z and the NAACP saying, yes, it's okay for gays to get married, might actually mean something to a boatload of straight allies and allies-to-be. But explore the complexities. To be clear, our lives are more than endorsements, right? Yep. Our lives are more than ballot boxes and legislation and licenses and ceremonies, right? Yep. Okay, cool. No shame. Sometimes I just like to explore them complexities out loud. I see our lives as complex, not just because we're queer and transgender and gender variant dykes. More so because our lives are the accumulation of our joys just as much as they are our sorrows. It's been mad long since Katy Perry kissed a girl. Azealia Banks is outwardly bisexual. Ellen's been cool for a long time, and we still claim Queen Latifah, even if she don't claim us back. It's been 20 years since Dyke marched on Washington for greater visibility. More than 40 years since the clash at Stonewall set the first Pride marches in motion. And yet, young queer and trans people like Zakiya Gunn are still being killed for being out, proud, and self-loving. Other young queers are taking their own lives because isolation, stigmatization, and lack of support in communities that they were expected to go home still can't do it. That is, if those same young people haven't already found themselves in the streets. Women, female-bodied, and trans people still earn a lower income than most white straight men and gay men. And even as progressive and politically activated as we are here in the Bay Area, we are still keenly aware that people like us are subject to hatred and violence. Last month, Brandy Martell was murdered just blocks from where I live in Oakland, and in what most people think is a hate crime. On Monday, a woman was brutally raped a few blocks from the home of a friend of mine who lives here in San Francisco. So yeah, we were just to a little more shine in the mainstream media, but as a colleague of mine likes to say, check the premise. The political climate is still complex. There's this quote by Alex Walker that was brought to my attention recently by my friend Monet Sykes. Activism is the rent I pay for living on this planet. She said it reminded her of me. A lot of why I'm active, mostly online, is because I have a vested interest in helping marginalized people tell their stories. That's why I started The Definition, my social site for Masculine+of+Center women, trans men, and our allies. That's why I wanted to be here, because we all have a right to have our stories told from our perspectives. That's what's so great about the Bay Area. That's what's up. It's great that all of us here are walking testaments to the strength of our blood ancestry, just as much as our queer, trans, and SGL foremothers, fathers, and elders who walked past similar to our own. While we've made a huge symbolic stride in attaining affirmation of the heteropatriarchal society, also thought of as optimized for straight people, we still need to push for better, for more. Because if evolution is not our option, it's our necessity. And with evolution, we are radically revising who and what and how and why we can be represented. Because as Sherry Moraga once wrote, we are the colored in a white feminist movement. We are feminists among people of our culture. We are often lesbians among the straight. We do this bridging by naming ourselves and telling our stories in our own words. We are all of what Sherry says, and every day becoming more. I thank you.
Yeah! Thank you, Krys. That was very moving. I'd like a moment to read out the names of the 10 women I was referring to.